Picture this. You did everything right today. You went for a walk this afternoon. You ate reasonably. You closed your laptop at a decent hour, brushed your teeth, and climbed into bed feeling, by any honest measure, exhausted. Your eyes were heavy an hour ago. Your body has been asking for this moment since roughly 3 in the afternoon. And then you lie down, and nothing happens. Your eyes are closed. Your body is still. And your mind is doing something that feels almost cruel, replaying a conversation from Tuesday, drafting an email you don't need to send until Monday, quietly auditing every decision you made today as though somebody were grading you on it. You were tired enough to fall asleep standing up an hour ago. Now you are lying in the dark, wide awake, wondering what happened between the couch and the pillow. This is where the question starts to creep in. Am I doing this wrong? Is there a supplement I haven't tried, a mattress I haven't bought, a bedtime routine I haven't followed closely enough? You start to suspect the problem is you, some failure of discipline, some flaw in your approach to rest that everyone else seems to have solved. I want to take that question seriously today, because the honest answer is more interesting and considerably more useful than anything you'll find in a supplement aisle. If you're new here, I'm Antoine, and this channel exists to take the biology of performance as seriously as you take everything else you've already optimized. If that's useful to you, staying subscribed means you won't miss where this goes. Here is the sentence I want you to hold on to for the rest of this video, because it reframes almost everything else. Sleepiness and sleep are not the same job. Sleepiness is your body building pressure to rest, a chemical called adenosine, quietly accumulating the longer you're awake, whispering that it's time. Sleep is a separate system, granting permission for that rest to actually happen. One is a request, the other is an approval. And you can have an overwhelming, undeniable request sitting right alongside a system that simply isn't ready to approve it. That gap has a name. Researchers who study insomnia, Michael Perlis at the University of Pennsylvania among them, describe much of chronic insomnia not as a lack of tiredness, but as a disorder of hyperarousal. Your nervous system is still running a low, persistent hum of alertness, even while your body is desperate for rest. Tired and wired are not opposites fighting for control. They are two separate systems, both fully activated at exactly the same time. Let's put a number on what that actually costs, because it's easy to dismiss a bad night as a one-off. Say hyperarousal costs you something modest, 45 minutes of deep, consolidated sleep a night. Not missing hours. Just 45 minutes of quality, quietly siphoned off by a nervous system that never fully stood down. 45 minutes feels almost irrelevant on any single night. You'd barely notice it. Now compound that. 10 years of that same pattern is roughly 274 hours of lost deep sleep. 11 full days your body never got to properly repair itself. 20 years doubles that. And this isn't a cosmetic cost. Sustained hyperarousal has been linked to a 3-fold increase in hypertension risk compared to people with more typical insomnia patterns. Because a nervous system that never fully exhales is also a cardiovascular system running warmer than it should for years without ever announcing itself as an emergency. The damage was never any single night. It was every night you quietly called fine. Now, you might be thinking, but I really am exhausted. Surely the answer is just more sleep, not less arousal. That's a completely reasonable thing to think, and it's exactly why these two problems need to be treated separately. Sleep pressure and nervous system arousal respond to different interventions entirely. You cannot out-exhaust a nervous system that's still on alert. Colleen Carney, a sleep researcher at Ryerson University, who has spent years studying cognitive behavioral approaches to insomnia, has shown that the interventions which work aren't about forcing more tiredness. They're about giving the arousal system permission to stand down. That's a different job, and it needs a different plan. Here's how that plan actually breaks down, in 3 stages. Step 1 is the offload. Roughly 2 hours before bed, you take everything your mind has been quietly cataloging all day. The unfinished tasks, the unresolved conversations, the low hum of don't forget, and you put it somewhere outside your own head. A notebook, a list. It doesn't need to be elegant. The point isn't organization. The point is that your nervous system stops treating your own memory as the only safe place to store an open loop, and the low-grade vigilance around forgetting something begins to loosen. Step 2 is the downshift. This is the 90 minutes before sleep, and its only job is to lower physiological arousal specifically. Not entertain you, not distract you, lower it. A warm shower that drops your core temperature afterward. Dim, warm light instead of the overhead lighting you've been under all evening. No screens held close to your face. This is where you're speaking the language your nervous system actually understands, rather than asking it to simply try harder to relax. Step 3 is the anchor. A consistent wake time every single day, regardless of how the previous night went. This is the one people resist most, because it feels like it should matter less than bedtime. It matters more. A stable wake time is what recalibrates your body's clock, and over time, retrains your evening cortisol to actually decline the way it's supposed to, which is the real condition hyperarousal needs to resolve. None of these 3 steps needs to be done perfectly on night 1. This isn't about timing your way to a flawless evening. It's about building the habit, night after night, until your nervous system stops needing convincing. Here's a way to picture what's actually happening underneath all of this, and it has nothing to do with sleep at all. Think of a car alarm going off in an empty parking lot, long after the threat that triggered it has passed. Nobody's breaking in anymore. There's no danger left to respond to. But the alarm doesn't know that. It just keeps blaring, because nothing has told it, specifically and repeatedly, that it's safe to stop. Your nervous system, running on hyperarousal, is that alarm. It isn't malfunctioning out of nowhere, and it certainly isn't broken. It's simply still responding to a threat that ended hours ago. Because nothing in your evening has clearly told it the danger is past. The offload, the downshift, and the anchor aren't sleep hacks. They're the signal that finally turns the alarm off. So to recap, offload what your mind is holding on to, roughly 2 hours out. Downshift your physiology in the 90 minutes before bed. Anchor your wake time so the whole system has something stable to recalibrate around. 3 stages done consistently, addressing the actual mechanism. Not one more night of trying to out-exhaust a nervous system that was never asking for more tiredness in the first place. There's a distinction worth sitting with here, and it's the same one that shows up almost everywhere in performance. Being tired is not the same as being safe enough to rest. One is a feeling. The other is a permission your body has to grant on its own terms, and no amount of exhaustion can substitute for it. If you want the full sequence, the exact timing and order of the offload, the downshift, and the anchor, that's what the 15-minute sleep shift was built to walk you through step by step. 15minutesleepshift.com. Tell me honestly, in the comments, which stage are you actually missing right now? The offload, the downshift, or the anchor? Most people are only missing one, because you did everything right today. You just haven't told your nervous system that yet.